Good evening, friends. It is Nostalgia Night, something new here on this channel. Bringing this over from another platform, and we will see how this goes. Our topic tonight is Kat is here tonight. Kat, good to see you, and I'm glad you at least got another account fixed up there. I'll try to help you retweet as I can. Um, Man, there's been a rash of that going on, hasn't there? But it's good to see you tonight. And I'm sure we'll have some more folks popping in now, as the hour goes on. Pretty nice night here in Indiana. It's only down to about 45, low of 37 tonight. It's a little warmer than typical. Our typical low is somewhere in the mid 20s, so we're about 12, 13 degrees above normal here in Indiana. But our topic tonight is all things 1970s. We want to hear your favorite 70s music, cars, fashion, TV shows, all of those things as we kind of reminisce about what I think is the best decade, the 1970s. Um, Absolutely happy to. My goodness, we support each other. You've always been so good about supporting me, and I appreciate that so very much. One of these days, hopefully, we'll get out through North Carolina and get a chance to meet you, Tony, who is your neighbor out there in North Carolina, and several others. Well, the 70s were a great year for me. I graduated from high school, or a great decade. I graduated from high school in 1974, so I have very fond memories of the 70s. One of the biggest groups of the 70s in my high school years was Three Dog Night, who what an incredible string of hits. Joy to the World, Out in the Country, Mama Told Me Not to Come. So many great hits from Three Dog Night. The group is still touring, but they only have one original member. And so I can't justify paying the prices they want for a concert for that. But I am pretty excited. My wife and I have tickets in March to see Bob Dylan. I'm very excited about seeing that concert. He's going to be in Muncie, Indiana, which is about a little bit over an hour from us. He's going to be up at Ball State University, and probably our last chance to see him because he's in his mid 80s now. So looking forward to seeing Dylan in March. It's right after St. Patrick's Day, which is always an incredibly busy time for us as we play Irish music. So that'll be a nice bonus, a nice way to relax after that. Muncie's where I spent the bulk of my life up until about 25 years ago. Don't have a lot of really close ties there. A lot of my friends have moved on. Some have passed on, but it's where I spent most of my life. The 70s was the time of cruising, 60s and 70s, and I was a big cruiser in my high school days. We had a route. We would start out on South Madison Street and go to Burger Chef, if you remember Burger Chef, and drive up Madison Street to White River to Wheeling, and then cut across to John's awful drive-in, and then turn around and go right back. And we would just do that Saturday night for hours at a time. Love the 70s country. People like Don Williams. Who else was in this? Kenny Rogers, of course, was just breaking on the scene. What an amazing career Kenny Rogers had. First broke on the scene with the first edition. Just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. Before the first edition, he was with the New Christy Minstrels. He was a folk singer for a number of years. And then, of course, had that stellar country career. Kat, what are some of the groups you remember from the 70s? Some of the country music you grew up on in the 70s? I'm a little bit older than you. Actually, I think I'm probably 15 or so years older than you are. So my country music was more of the late 50s and the early 1960s. That's kind of what I grew up on. So Hank Sr., Ernest Tubb, Hank Snow, who just got posthumously, however you pronounce that, inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame just this past weekend. Who else? Statler Brothers were a huge one when I was growing up. Everybody loved the Statler Brothers. Of course, they had that massive, massive hit, Counting Flowers on the Wall. Great, great song. Susan When She Tried, Class of 57. List just goes on and on. Statler Brothers have retired, as have the Oak Ridge Boys, the other great country music quartet, both big in the 60s and in the 70s. Of course, the 70s, the Oak Ridge Boys had that massive hit with Elvira. I think that was about 77 or 78, if I remember correctly. So pop in here, folks. We're talking all things 70s tonight. Tell us about your favorite cars from the 70s, your favorite music from the 70s, even fashion, Nehru jackets, and leisure suits. Man, I loved my leisure suits in the 70s. I wish they would come back in fashion. I would proudly, I don't wear a suit very often, but I would proudly wear leisure suits again. Let's see, Statler Brothers, Waylon Jennings, Conway, George, Loretta, Glenn Campbell. Of course, Glenn Campbell broke on the scene in about 1966, did a stint with the Beach Boys, went solo, breakout hit Wichita Lineman, then of course Rhinestone Cowboy, Country Boy, The Race is On, just so many great songs. I love all those artists that you mentioned, Kat. I love the Statlers, love Waylon, Conway. Harold Lloyd Jenkins was Conway Twitty's real name. That stage name came from two of the first shows he played, Conway, Arkansas, and Twitty, Texas. George Jones and Loretta Lynn. Kat, you may or may not have known this. The song He Stopped Loving Her Today, which was George's signature song, he did not want to record that. He told his producer that song is too sad. Nobody's going to buy that record. And his producer insisted he record it. Knowing a little bit about the music business, if you're working for a producer, you have to kind of do what they say. So he recorded it, and it became absolutely the hit of his career. All things 70s tonight. We're going to hang out here for a while and just chat and visit. So would love to hear your takes on that. Yeah, just did not want to record that song. Another group that had that same experience was Seals and Crofts, which were one of my favorite groups from the 1970s. They had done songs like Hummingbird, King of Nothing, Summer Breeze, and then somebody pitched to them the song Diamond Girl. They did not want to record Diamond Girl because it was so different from everything else that they had recorded. And again, working for a producer, they kind of had to record that song. And I won't say it became the hit of their career. I think the hit of their career was absolutely Summer Breeze. But Diamond Girl's a great song. Matter of fact, heard it on Sirius XM The Bridge today, which is the station that I seem to listen to more than anything else on satellite radio. I like that one. We like yacht rock a lot too. My wife listens to the 80s on 8 quite a bit, and I enjoy that. And I like the 70s on 7. You may hear me pop up on the bridge from time to time, by the way, if you get a chance to listen. We talked about this a little bit Monday night during the live. I had a 1974 Nova in the 70s, and that was probably my favorite car. That great car, metallic bronze. I loved that car, and it was totaled when somebody ran a red light and broadsided me. You were born in 65, so you are 8 years younger than I am. So we're a little closer in age than I thought. Kat, you may or may not know, I'm sure in the 70s you heard You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone. That song was absolutely inescapable. And at the time that song broke, I was opening for Miss Boone at a lot of different shows. And I heard that song live far more times than I ever want to admit to hearing it live. I talk a little bit about that in when I do a comedy show, but it was I've opened for a few folks that that folks recognized. That one was a really interesting one. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band was another one. Of course, their big hit was Mr. Bojangles. All super nice guys. All things 70s tonight. Some great TV shows in the 70s. Of course, MASH was on in the 70s. Um, Mork and Mindy, late 70s. Magnum PI, one of my favorite shows, late 70s into the 80s. I love Tom Selleck, and I love the original Magnum PI show. I have not, I saw one episode of the remake, and I wasn't real happy with it. I just didn't care much for it. It just wasn't the same. Let us know where you're from. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I go live several times a week, actually. A lot of times it's a bird feeder live. I set the camera up, and y'all can watch the squirrels playing at the feeder, see what kind of birds we're getting. Sometimes it is Dukes in 79. It was hot stuff in the rural South. John Schneider, Tom Wopat, I can't think of the girl's name that played Daisy Duke. Catherine Bach, is that right? Catherine Bach was her name. And of course, James Best was in that show, who played Jimmy Lindsay in 2 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. James Best, also a very accomplished artist. You can still find some of his paintings pop up for sale. They're pretty expensive. I would not mind having a piece of James Best art at some point, but I doubt that I'll ever really be able to afford one. But it's pretty cool. He was painted in a very folk artist type style. Of course, the General Lee. There is a Dukes of Hazzard. What's the garage? Is it Cooter's Garage? That was the name of the garage in the show, right? Cooter's Garage. There is a Cooter's Garage in either Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That is kind of an homage to the show. Kat, you live in North Carolina. Have you ever been to Mount Airy, the town that Mayberry was modeled after? It's been a long time since we've been out there. I would like to go visit that town again. I really enjoyed our visit out there. They've got the jail. You can go sit behind Sheriff Andy's desk. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize he lived out that way. They've got Wally's Garage. They've got the Snappy Lunch, Floyd's Barbershop. How far is that from you? And I'm trying to think of how we ended up there. I mean, I know we went on purpose. We must have been in the Smokies and decided to head on over there. By the way, the famous Siamese twins from the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, Ing and Chang, were from Mount Airy, North Carolina, and are buried in the Mount Airy City Cemetery there, as is Frances Bouvier, who played Aunt Bee. If you get a chance, I think it's well worth a visit, Kat. I think it's, if you're a fan of classic TV, if you're a fan of the Andy Griffith Show, I do think it is well worth a visit. Well, hi, buddy. I heard the little furry one come in here. 100 miles north of you. Now I'm trying to think, I don't remember if we actually stayed in Mount Airy, but we did play music at the Andy Griffith Arts Center there in Mount Airy. It's kind of starting to come back to me now. Gosh, I said 10 years ago, it may have been 15 years ago we made that trip. And I think we were in the Smokies, then swung through North Carolina, and I'm not sure where else. And by the way, thank you, Kat, for sharing my video that I posted, the non-alcoholic beer review that I posted. So how did you find out that your Twitter account had got hacked? Did you get an email, or what happened? How did you find that out? It looks like you and I are the only ones in here. I have to say I'm really enjoying Blue Sky. I'm actually enjoying it more than I am Twitter. Oh, the email on your account has been changed. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, that's awful. I can't remember. I think that's what happened when mine got hacked too back. Gosh, that's been 5 or 6 years ago. I'm sure you remember that. I had like, I don't know, 7,000 followers or something. I had a bunch and just gone overnight. Our topic tonight is all things 1970s. Feel free to pop in. We'll hang out probably for a few more minutes. If we don't have anybody pop in, I'll probably shut it down live tonight, or shut it down early tonight instead of going for the full hour, because nobody wants to sit and listen to me yammer on for an hour. You can just ask the people in my church. Of course, another group that was big in the 70s in my high school years was the Guess Who. They were huge. American Woman came out in 1972. Man, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. You know, when that happens, you lose a community. Having some neck issues tonight. And I saw that Svengoolie, the show will be on, but he's not going to be on Saturday night. The crew is going to be on. And I've never even heard of the movie they're going to be showing Saturday night. Was it Flight 7700 or something like that? Must be a 70s movie. Yeah, which is appropriate since we're talking all things 1970s tonight. Good. I followed it. Good. Hopefully Saturday night, if you're around during the movie, you know, using that hashtag, that's when it gets the most use. So hopefully that will really help. Yeah, I mean, there's not many movies that he shows that I have not even heard of. I had never seen the one he had Saturday night, but I had heard of it. But I have never even heard of the one that's coming out this Saturday. Well, this is kind of our last chance here. We're talking all things 70s. If anybody has something about the 70s they want to discuss, let me know. And if not, we'll pop out and I'll probably, if we have some decent activity at the feeder. We got some weather moving in tomorrow. There may be some weather lives going on tomorrow. Got a good chance of severe storms tomorrow night. That is a fantastic movie. Of course, that is Steven Spielberg's first movie. Dennis Weaver, one of my favorite actors of that time period. I'm sure you remember his TV show McCloud, which I thought was a great movie. And it figures, I know you would like it because it's a car movie. I tend to go more for the 50s science fiction. I really like Them, The Deadly Mantis. I like those giant bug movies, tarantulas. Those are my favorites. My all-time favorite is Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't think Dennis Weaver is with us anymore. Computer, when did Dennis Weaver die?
Dennis Weaver died on February 24th, 2006 at the age of 81 years.
Oh my gosh, he's been...
Hey, you have a new notification. Do you want to hear it?
No. Oh my gosh, he's been gone for 20 years, believe it or not. Speaking of the 70s, here's a sticker on my coffee travel mug. Boy, doesn't that say 70s. It is a great film. And I love the soundtrack to The Creature from the Black Lagoon. It is one of the best movie soundtracks of any era. It's so well done. He was great on Gunsmoke. And they show that on MeTV. Or is it Grit? Anyway, I'll see that when I pop through. When I, go through the TV shows. MeTV has so many great shows. I've been hooked for the last year or so. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. You can come up here. You come up. Come on. Come on. Do you want up? Come on. Well, come on. There we go. Love my Roku. Gabriel says hi. All right. Well, I think we're going to call this one. Appreciate you being here, Kat. Always good to see you. And we'll get your account built back up, or I'll do everything I can to help with that. He's the best boy. He is just the best boy. Watch for live tomorrow afternoon. I'll try to update you guys on the weather situation, and never really know what might be happening at the feeder. So we'll catch you all later.